What's up, y'all? You're listening to the Brazos Sports Prepscast. I'm Alex Miller with the Eagle, joined always by Jake Weiss and Andrew Tenio. Guys, here we go. Buckle up. 17 weeks of fun starts right now. It's week 1 of the Texas high school football season. How are we feeling heading into Friday night?
Just super excited. You know, the slate in week 1 here in the Brazos Valley is loaded at all classifications, and I just can't wait for us to just jump right on in.
I know last week I said, hey, can't believe it's already here. Well, now it's here, and I'm ready. Here we go.
Jake, you're going to be taking a road trip over to Belton, watching A&M Consolidated take on Lake Belton. What are you kind of looking for in that matchup between the Tigers and the Broncos?
Yeah, so and I'll have a preview story out. I don't want to reveal all the secrets, but I've got a pretty interesting little note here that Coach Schmidt told me earlier this week. This was actually supposed to be potentially a district matchup. Lake Belton and Consol, they kind of thought they were going to be in the same district this year. Obviously, we all know didn't work out, so they kind of had a tentative, handshake agreement. Hey, we're not in the same district. Why don't we play each other? So, hey, that's how we got here this week. But, no, I think, like I said, I talked to Coach Schmidt. I think the big thing is going to be the trenches. That was his big focus was, hey, they've got a real big physical defensive line. Lake Belton does. On offense, hey, they got a big physical line on that side of the ball, too. We know Consol's front seven. I think we've talked about them. I think we talked about them last week in the preview pod. They might have their hands full this week, but I think it's going to be a challenge that if I know Consol and I know what they talk about with that front seven, I think they think it's a challenge they're up for.
Andrew, you will be here heading the ship at the newsroom. You won't be at a game Friday night, but I think you have some insight onto what the Rudder Rangers are going to be looking like in their season opener against. Is West Fork a brand new school, New Caney West Fork?
So that was one of the things I was interested in when looking in this matchup. If you never heard of New Caney West Fork, it's because it's their first game. Will be on Friday. So if it's a little deja vu for Rudder, a couple years ago they played Clean Chaparral in their first season of football, and now they get it again with West Fork. Instead, it's their first game ever, and that was something that I talked with Izar a little bit. I have a preview story going out tomorrow, so I don't want to reveal too much on that front. But he was very interested in the challenge of having to scout against a team that he's never seen in a live setting before. That's some scrimmage film on them, but they'll be traveling to New Caney. They're excited for the challenge. Obviously when you look at Rudder, skill position guys on both sides of the ball kind of stand out. Izar's keys to this game he feels are just, playing complementary football, not turning the ball over too much, not giving New Caney a chance to milk the clock. That's something that from what he's seen from their film, they like to milk the clock. They like to have long drives that take time over. So that'll be one I'm very interested to see how Rudder looks at a team that not only they haven't seen before, but no one's ever seen before. So
yeah, I'll be at College Station against Klein Collins. I think the big thing here is, what's this Cougar defense going to look like? A lot of new faces. Pretty much a revamped secondary. Bring back Braylon Wortham. It sounds like the Cougars are feeling pretty good about what they have at linebacker. Have some guys that have varsity experience. D-line's a little new. They run that 3-4, so just a 3-man front. But, Klein Collins, Stoney Pryor, head coach at College Station, he said, hey, their defense, they get after it. Like, they attack really hard. They're the favorites to win District 15 up in Class 6A, which is a pretty solid district on the north side of Houston. So, this is a state-ranked team. It's going to be a good test for College Station. The Cougars have a pretty front-loaded schedule when you look at it. They got Klein Collins this week. They got Magnolia next week, a team they played in the playoffs last year that's moved up to Class 6A. Their first district game is against Austin Anderson. That's dropped down from 6A to 5A Division I. And then 2 weeks later, you got to go across town and play your rival A&M Consolidated. So it's going to be a fast and furious first month for the Cougars. Very talented offense that, I think is anticipating being able to put up a lot of points again. I think that's kind of a staple of what we've learned about the College Station football program. They have really good offenses that go really, really fast. And, they're breaking in a new starting quarterback that has quite a bit of experience at the varsity level. So definitely curious to see, what the fight is like Friday night against Klein Collins, a team that, they are definitely a playoff caliber team at the 6A level and possibly capable of making a run up in that 6A bracket. So
Well, I got 2 quick questions for you.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you get the what kind of strings did you have to pull to get the one home game this week? And then where are we going to eat? You're not going on the road, and I know you're kind of the master.
Oh,
of the
Jake. I got a place for you and all the Tiger fans. The Miller name is a good one.
Okay.
So you got to go to Miller Smokehouse in downtown Belton. Okay.
In relation?
No, I wish, but I do have a T-shirt from there. So yeah, you got to go to Miller Smokehouse. It's right off I-35 as you're getting into town, and gotta get the jalapeno cheese sausage. You got to get a dessert though. The desserts there are really good. They're homemade, and you can't go wrong with any of them. So it's kind of it's not like your typical barbecue joint. It's got kind of like a more modern-y look to the restaurant, but the food is really good. So that would be my number one pick going over to Belton. And yeah, man, I don't know. I guess I just got lucky. Cease likes me more than you guys. So.
I guess so, yeah. Because last time I have to take your recommendation too, because I think last time I was out there, I had Chipotle. So
oh my
gosh. A local establishment.
That is terrible. You're making me cringe, and we haven't even played any games yet. hey, speaking of Cease, he's going to be at Bryan against Magnolia West down there in good old Montgomery County. Cease isn't here to help preview that matchup, but what are either of you guys seeing from the Vikings in their season opener?
Yeah, so I talked to head coach Ricky Tellis a little bit earlier this week about the matchup, and one interesting note too, kind of similar to the Consol one. Not that they thought they were going to play each other, but a little bit of like a homecoming. I guess we could say homecoming because Bryan offensive coordinator Chris Johnson was at Magnolia West the last couple seasons. He's back at Bryan, his alma mater, so it's like a homecoming for him, but then also he's back at Bryan, so it's I guess one big family reunion, I guess.
It's a homecomingception of some sort. Like everything's just happening at the same time.
So I thought that was real interesting. It's a team he knows real well. And I did ask Coach, like, hey, have you kind of picked his brain a little bit? He was like, not really, because we kind of like to think of it more as, that was last year's team. Now this year's team. But, interesting with Magnolia West, hey, Bryan gets to kind of introduce them to Class 6A because they're moving up as well. But, Coach Ellis as well, his big thing is, he likes to focus on what the Vikings are going to do. He just said, hey, we've got to play, just our brand of football. He's kind of excited to be on the road. This is the second year in a row. Last year they were at Waller. This year they're on the road again, obviously. I thought it was real interesting. One of his kind of philosophies is, hey, especially in the first game, when you go on the road, it can kind of have a calming effect because you don't have to worry about putting on a show for your home fans, which I thought was real interesting. So we'll see. I think Bryan's in our Harris ratings, the picks and spread we get every week. I think Bryan's a slight underdog, but maybe that, hey, if they go on the road and they're real calm, that might be a big factor there.
I'm really interested to see, everyone looks at the 9 starters on offense and their face kind of glows up. But I'm curious the defense, how many guys they bring back on defense, what they can do there. They had some good moments and they had some not so good moments last year. This challenge at Magnolia West, Bryan may be a little familiar with what Mag West does offensively just because, the previous OC. I'm really interested to see what the defense kind of comes out with more than anything else, especially in, like I said, a road environment, a rowdy 6A, welcome 6A environment. So.
Hey, down at 6, man, we got a couple of local teams going head-to-head, St. Joe's and BV Chia. Yeah. I think, Jake, you going out to that game Thursday night?
I am, actually.
That's what I thought.
And if you can believe it, actually, first 6-man game for me.
All right, well, it's an 80-yard field. There's 3 downs. You have to get 15 yards to get a first down, and there's only 6 guys on each side of the field. Now, you think you got that?
I think I do, yeah.
All right, there you go.
I don't have my notebook with me, so we might need to go over that again before I go out there. But, no, that should be a good matchup. Like we've talked about on the preseason pod, St. Joe's, new head coach, new quarterback. BV Chia, to their credit, remember last year they opened the season by beating Allen Academy. So
that was a big win.
Strangers to pulling off those upsets. And I think the game's it's weird. It's technically a home game for BV Chia because they use Allen Academy's field.
Right. It's part of the showcase, I'm guessing, that Allen Academy's putting on. And they're playing who? Baytown Christian Academy?
Friday night,
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I believe, too, St. Joe's, I need to double-check the schedule for the showcase, but I think that may be the first game of the showcase is St. Joe's BV Chia. Because that'll be kind of our official kickoff of the season. St. Joe's and BV Chia, Evan Cameron and LaGrange. Both of those matchups are on Thursday. Everybody else is on Friday night.
Brazos Christian, they're playing Legacy Prep out of Magnolia. I think we're all interested to see what this Eagles offense is capable of doing this year.
was gonna say your season preview. I don't want to give you too big a head or anything, give you too big of a booster ego. But reading your season preview, I was like, man, I'm all in on the Eagles, man. I'm fired up.
Well, hey, what are maybe what's an area game you guys got your eye on this week? Jake, I think I know what yours is.
There's a couple.
All right, well, tell me.
Well, one that, and we were just talking about this before we got started, but Caldwell Crockett actually is one that really intrigues me. Crockett obviously just won one game last year. I know Caldwell, we've kind of talked about their struggles, obviously, the losing streak, but I know it's on the road, but man, I don't know. Going up against a team like that's kind of similar to you, I think Caldwell's got a pretty good chance. They've got that big offensive line. I think that's really going to pay dividends, being able to establish the run. And, we know Coy Becca is Coy Becca's dual threat guy for Caldwell. I think if that offensive line can get some push and he can get some space, get some green grass in front of him, I don't know. I think Caldwell, that bus ride back may be pretty nice bus ride back, if you will.
Could be.
I think one that might go a little under the radar just because of the way the matchup seems. Lexington Marlin. I'm interested because Marlin's been a team the last couple of years that have in the Waco area that's kind of been overshadowed by Mart just because of the way it is in district. Marlin's got a good program and they've put up, I think they won 9 games last year. And I get it's a classification down for Lexington, but Lexington's a team that's come into the year with a lot of hype, a lot of returning guys from last year's team that went a couple rounds deep, and Marlin's a team that's kind of established themselves as a pretty consistent playoff team. And so I'm interested to see, the line's 17, which it's kind of high. I think it may be a closer game than that, but that's one that I've kept my eye on. That I'd be interested to see that final score.
I got 2. Navasota and Sealy.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah.
Navasota got a first-year head coach, right?
Yeah.
Trey Allen down there in Navasota. They're a team that, I think they could have a solid season. Sealy's always a tough team to play. They always have a pretty good squad, but and they're in a really good. I think they're in the district with. Aren't they in the district with Madisonville and Belleville and them?
Yes, they just
yeah,
entered.
that's what
They
I
just
thought.
entered.
Which is going to be a really good district, by the way. Madisonville and Diboll should be a pretty good game as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what the Rattlers have to show in their first game with the new head coach. And then the other one is Franklin and China Spring,
Yeah.
right? I mean, look, I think we talked about it at length last week, but this is going to be a new look Franklin team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to see what their offensive line's made of and what they do on defense. That linebacker duo they've had the last 4 years has just been so stout. And, who are the guys that are going to step up and be able to be the next wave that comes through? And, can they keep it going and just reload instead of, rebuild?
Mm-hmm.
So Franklin's got some good pieces, but, it's gonna be some new faces that have to get it done.
Yeah, Burnham Huntsville, another game I want to look at.
Oh, man.
Super, super exciting. I know we mentioned the 5A games beforehand, but that's one that they could put up a lot of points and it could be close throughout. I see a lot of scoring changes happening throughout. I don't know.
Former district foes, too.
Former district foes, yeah.
That was maybe the hardest game that I thought we had to pick this week.
Yeah.
I went back and forth. I can't remember who exactly I picked, but I just know that I was like, Burnham, Huntsville. I don't know, man. Flip a coin.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we've got a great slate of games this week, and be sure to check theeagle.com for all of our coverage leading up to Friday night's action and Thursday night's action if you're Jake.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So, hey, that's all we got this week, and we'll see you next time here on the Brazos Sports Prepscast.